Hey YouTube, this is Brian from Whisky Library.
And wait, you're Brian from Whisky Library?
Did I fuck that up?
What? That's so awesome. I'm Sniff from ScotchNSniff, and we're here to do a show.
Hey!
I don't even know what happened there. So, today we're going to be talking about the greatest topic of all time. Second greatest, third greatest topic.
Fourth?
This isn't going well. Anyways, we're going to talk about the future of whiskey events. So we couldn't put a whiskey event on the table because that's not a thing. But we do want to talk about whiskey events and how they're evolving, because it seems like they're changing quite a bit. Like in the beginning of this game, I feel like there was a lot of, oh, you go online, Eventbrite has an event that's available. Oh, it's from the Balvenie, or it's from, Macallan, and they're having this event at a place down in DC, and like it's free tickets. You just go, you schmooze with people, you drink some. They have weird picture booths where you got barrels on. I don't know what's going on there. There's a lot of weirdness and a lot of fun. Or like Balvenie, who had these like super intimate events.
Yes.
With like candlelit. And like, that's
Well, they did the raw craft experience.
Ooh, the
that
raw
was
craft
fun.
was
Remember?
so Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah,
Way to bring the whole
Sorry,
conversation
Anthony
down.
Bourdain was the host for their raw craft events, and those were actually like really, really incredible events where they were focusing and showcasing people around the country that still built things with their hands, and just to talk about Balvenie still building whiskey with their hands, essentially. And they brought that into that. So it was an incredible series that they did. And rip in peace. But right.
Anyway,
so,
moving
those
on.
events, moving on. Ugh.
But whiskey events. So, I mean, that's... yeah.
Sorry.
But that's... well, whatever. I mean, you got to talk about it. So that's kind of how the Whisky Library really originated in doing unique, or trying to do unique whiskey events. And even the events we've done have kind of grown over the past 4 or 5 years. We started off with just kind of friends and family, and then
In a basement of a restaurant?
The basement of a restaurant. Kind of. And then, we grew from there, where we did, curated dinners at different, fancier restaurants around town, to ticketed events, at different bars, to just kind of trying to get, different people who really appreciated whiskey together to really try some stuff that they otherwise wouldn't be able to try. And to now, I think we're moving back towards some of the kind of stuff that we've done together, like what we did with the Glenfiddich event here in DC, where you kind of get people to try stuff in a unique way. We tried it blind.
The blind was so much fun.
I think that, at least in my mind, is where I'd like to see the whiskey events go back to kind of the passion, back to kind of more of the intimate, more of the just kind of taking a look at the whiskey itself and almost kind of unplugging. You hear a lot about that, but I feel like a lot of the, our events, the events that are just going on around, it's just a bunch of cameras and live streams and stuff. And I'm like, it's great, don't get me wrong, but like, I'd love to get back to just like being able to disconnect from that and enjoy an experience and learn. And that's where at least I think we're trying to head.
So it's funny you say that, because I remember sitting out. So if you guys haven't seen it, we do have a video of Glenfiddich. We did an experimental set with Tracy, and we worked with her to do a blind tasting. And it was pretty incredible just to see people really taste completely blind and just to see what goes on. I think that was part of the inspiration I had for like the mystery whiskeys under 50, like that kind of idea that you can really taste something and have no clue what it is and really just enjoy the whiskey itself. But it's funny because for that event, so we had my video guy and he had another video guy, and they did all the video stuff.
Right.
They took care of essentially what is the media of the event, and that's how we were able to bring you that awesome video. And just through that, I didn't have to do any Instagram tags, nothing. We just, all of it was done, so we could do that and just post the video and call it a day.
And you enjoyed yourself more, I assume.
Yeah, it was a really good time. I mean, so it's weird that you say that, because so the first event we can talk about, the Michters, was like the exact opposite of that. So they wanted to bring a bunch of Instagrammers together, and at the time we were no one. They wanted to bring a bunch
we were no one.
I know.
We
Whiskey
were
Nate sold us like crazy. So it's a bunch of Instagrammers that you got together: Scotch Trooper, Whiskey Nate, Whiskey Architecture, Whiskey
Scotch in the
Library,
City.
ScotchNSniff, Scotch in the City, Scotch Forums. That's a lot of name dropping.
Yeah.
All of us were there at this event that Michters threw together. Hotel, Nomad, rooftop, just incredible night.
Yeah.
View of the Empire State Building. I mean, if you guys have seen Scotch Trooper's pictures, you know the one where he has the trooper sitting in front of the Empire State Building just chilling with the Michters bottle. That was that event. It was otherworldly, but that was like a preface for where it was going in the future, with like the Scotch and Time events. You guys, if you guys have seen those on Instagram, Eric has been hosting these events all around the country where we'll go, and it really is like the pinnacle of nonstop Instagramming, live streams. Like all of us who do pictures with cameras, like Whiskey and Donuts, like we're all on top of it. Like it's crazy to see because it's the exact opposite of what you're saying.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to, say that those events can't continue or shouldn't, because there's obviously a time and a place for them, and I think that's great. I've seen, I saw the pictures from Vegas that you guys were all at, and it was someone taking a picture of a bottle, and someone taking a picture of that person, and then someone taking a picture of that person, and then someone taking a picture of a donut with that person, and it was just like picture.
Pictureception.
And yeah, and there's exactly right, and there's nothing wrong with that, because watching it on Instagram unfold through live stories and over the next couple weeks, it was fun to see, and you guys obviously had a blast. There's no doubt about it, and there was some great stuff. But I think between the Mictors and then the event that we did here as a follow up to that one, where we tried to bring the same people and we tried to expand it a little bit, but limited to seats and all that kind of stuff at Casa Luca. We couldn't get everyone in the world that we wanted to bring. But it was where we brought out Nick from
Nicholas, who just got a promotion.
Yeah, exactly. At the McAllen, we should mention what Nick we're talking about. Just some random Nick.
McAllen Nicholas, if you guys don't know him, brand ambassador for McAllen. No longer brand ambassador. Now he's the brand educator. So he's gotten this huge promotion where he's going to be doing some amazing things. But Nicholas is a really cool guy. Actually, if you're on the ScotchNSniff channel right now, like we have an interview with Nicholas if you want to see what his life was like and what it's like to be a McAllen brand ambassador. And I'm sure now with this new job, we have to re-interview him. So that'll be fun. But
we brought him down, or he came down to DC for something similar that we did with Victor's, except we did it with McAllen. Yep. And so we did a dinner pairing. We had the 1824
Master Series. Correct.
So you start with Rare cask.
Yep.
It's where you start, and
Reflection,
then
number 6 and
which, oh my God, the number 6. Let's take a moment for that.
If you watch the interview, Nicholas bought me some more McAllen number 6 in that one, and it is enjoyable to watch my face as I needed to tell.
But that was fun, and it was at that event actually where we were playing with some Star Wars toys.
Yeah, that's fun.
We were having some fun with balancing things, and it was great. We were at one end of the table, and Nick was kind of explaining everything to us from the other side. And it was actually at that event that I realized at the same time I was trying to listen and pay attention to all of the education and all the experience that was being shared.
Yeah.
I was also trying to figure out, should I take a picture of that? How would that work? How would that lighting work? And I'm not that good at photography. So it was a lot of brain power was being used up trying to figure that out. And so it was actually at that event where I was like, I don't want to do that at these events. I want to really get the same group or a group of people together to experience it. Maybe there's a session, like maybe there's a photo booth for taking pictures, but then the rest of the event is really just disconnect and take your time with the whiskey and be passionate about it.
It is hilariously ironic that you say that. So when talking to Eric about going, in a couple of weeks we're going to San Francisco to do another whiskey and time event.
Okay.
Or Scotch and Time event. But the funny thing about it is I was like, hey, I'm going to bring my video guy. We're going to get video. We're going to do this and that. And he was like, don't you ever just want to drink? And I was like, sometimes.
Yeah.
But I was like, for this, no. That's why I bought plane tickets for my video guy. So that's literally I was like for this, not really. But so the events that I get to go to where I get to do that, I feel like are events where I so this event that happened at Jack Rose, there'll be an interview video that gets posted about this later. Get to sit down with Thomas and talk to him about what it was like to own Jack Rose, but what was the purpose of creating the event that he created. So he created this event where it was these really, really exclusive whiskeys, and it was really, really interesting, and it was really, really good. We also celebrated Harvey's birthday.
Yeah.
But talking to Thomas, it was so weird because he's talking about the event and how he didn't want it to be another one like Whiskey Fest.
Right.
Where you pay a couple $100, you walk through, you have a glass, and then you have two kinds of people at Whiskey Fest. You have either people who take it way too seriously, like myself, who are like going to just the certain specific stations, Lady Burn 41, Cavalan, like just to try certain things I've never tried before that I wanted to try, and then chilling the rest of the time with the amazing food. Or you have the lady, I'll never forget her, oh my gosh, when she got around to the rum. So the whole room you go around, And by the time I got to the rum just to try, this lady, like, it wasn't English she was speaking to me,
Right.
but she was asking me, I think, if I wanted to try some. But she didn't work behind the counter, but she was standing there. It was really weird.
Yeah.
But, like, he really wanted to bring something back where, like, enthusiasts who really want to just try the whiskey can try it without having to take a ton of pictures, because they had a photographer there that they hired, and without having to just worry about missing out on anything, because everything was so unique. Right. It's like you didn't think you were going to miss anything.
Right. Well, and so that's why when we do our events, we try to keep it limited to the number of expressions, whether it's one brand, multiple brands, multiple types, whether American, Scotch, Japanese, and we mix them all together in one event. So that was trying to avoid the problem you get at some kind of at Whiskey Fest, which is there are hundreds of whiskeys that you want to try, but you can't. You've got 3 hours.
You
you've
tried
got 2
10,
problems.
and your palate's like, nah, I'm done.
You've tried 5, and depending if you start at the Lefroy and Brookline, you're done for the night. But if you don't get to Lefroy at a certain time, you're not going to get to try, the Lefroy 18 or 25 or something. So you're kind of feel pressure to get there, or you're going to miss out.
Yep.
And so we were trying to avoid that scenario. We were also trying to avoid palate wrecking and just general drunkenness. Debauchery. However you pronounce it.
I don't know. Hard CH? Too much Brookline.
Exactly. And so, but then at the same time, being really able to appreciate the whiskeys that you had and take your time with them. And so that's what I'd like to kind of get back to. I really think that's, in my mind, where I would love to see the future whiskey events. I think there's a time and place for all of it. But in terms of those events, that's what I'd like to see. I just think that the Whiskey Fests, I mean, there's now Whiskey Fest, Whiskey Extravaganza, Whiskey Live, Whiskey X. I mean, and don't get me wrong, they are all fantastic, and we love going, and we love it mainly because we get to see a lot of our friends.
That's the problem, because we're always carrying boxes. Like, you get hit with somebody's like, "Hey, do you want to go to this?" You're like, "Yeah." Like, what do you need me to do? Like, you need me to help you?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll carry boxes. Like, sure.
I'll do whatever. Yeah, so
it's just good to see you again, because you're an ambassador, and I swear you're nonstop traveling.
Right.
And I see you once every couple of months.
So I actually enjoy standing behind, not even drinking, just hanging out with them and talking with them and helping if I can. But that's what I appreciate is the camaraderie and the fabric. Yeah, exactly. And the fabric of the whiskey community. And really, that's why I go to those events, is to really sit back and relax with everyone. Bill and the crew from Jack Rose and Bourbon and Rebellion and the stores, they're all there too. And so you can kind of take a break and sit down with them and have dinner and stuff, and you can watch all the other little people running around and trying to fill their glass.
Yeah.
But they also have the classes. And that's where at Whiskey Fest, I recently have really kind of tried to go to the
early classes.
To the early classes.
Are amazing.
Because it's 30, 45 minutes out of that block, yet you're sitting down, you're limited to the whiskeys, and you're being taught by either national brand ambassadors, master distillers.
Yeah, the distiller.
Holy cow, right? Like when Heaven Hill came, they brought out, Bernie Lubbers and Denny Potter. I mean, holy cow. Like, what better person to tell you about Parker's heritage and what they're doing with Larceny, what they're doing with some of their new releases than Denny himself, or Bernie.
That's the same kind of pull that Bill Thomas has over Jack Rose. Like, Bill does the same thing. Like, when he, for Wilderness Trail that still hasn't launched yet, like, he just brought the owners out.
Yeah, why not?
I'm trying to think of the other brands. So Nelson's Greenbrier Distillery.
Yep.
Andy came out. Like he just brings whoever it is who's making your whiskey to the event to talk to you about it, because that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to make it more for enthusiasts.
Well, and that's the beauty of having Jack Rose here in DC is
we're very lucky.
We are very lucky to have that, because I think and maybe we should probably pause and talk a little bit about that and how lucky we are here in the DC area, the DMV as we call it.
DC, New York, LA, pretty much you're getting everything.
Yeah.
In Chicago. Why is Chicago in this list? But Chicago.
Well, I mean, they got Delilah's. I mean, there's a huge whiskey community up there, too. But even then, I mean, no one has anything similar to the power that Jack Rose has.
Yeah.
In the sense of not just the volume, but what Bill has tried to do with the whiskey community. He brings in Wilderness. He's going to get a couple barrels. Peerless. They did their own pick of Peerless.
Peerless downstairs.
Well, and then even Riggs. And then even, you mentioned Nelson's Greenbrier and the Bell Mead series. And, Bill went over there and he picked, what what was it? The sherry? I think it was the
he got his
Bellmead
own-
sherry barrel proof.
Yeah, he got his own.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, so
good.
he's bringing that in because he knows it's unique, he knows it's special, and he brings it into the distillery, which then brings the connections, and those brands want to come and help, and it's all about community, and that's where I think whiskey events need to move to.
And I think that's what's going to happen. So, yeah. So, speaking of community, that's why we're here, right?
Yeah.
You guys are literally sitting on YouTube watching ScotchNSniff videos because we're about this community, this whiskey community. I mean, I can't tell you how many other whiskey YouTubers I also watch because it's the same kind of thing. Like, that's what we do. Like, Whiskey Untitled, that live stream I do with Charles, like Drinking Caveman. It's the same kind of thing. Like, we're just adding to this community that we have with people who just want to get together in this conversation that we all have about whiskey. So, yeah. So, let us know your comments. If you guys have any questions or concerns or whatever about just whiskey events in general. Like, what do you think? Have you gone to whiskey events that you liked, whiskey events you didn't like, free ones you paid for, ones that had too much whiskey, ones that didn't have enough? Like, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, and if you're in the DC area, shoot us a line over at the library, Brian at whiskeylibrarydc.com. I'd love to know what kind of whiskey events you would like, and I'd like to start trying to figure out how to set those up for people.
Heck yeah. Whiskey events are always fun to do. Or if you just want to hit us up and go chill at Jack Rose and get some drinks.
Yeah.
Like Scotch Storybook did. Such a crazy time. Him and his wife came up from Tennessee. Like,
awesome.
if you just want to meet up, hit us up on Instagram, DM, and we'll just go get some drinks.
What are you on Instagram?
On Instagram? I don't know. Where's the name of the channel? What's it? It says it's somewhere.
ScotchNSniff,
I don't know what's
something
going
like
on.
that?
I don't know.
Well, we're Whiskey Library DC. No underscores this time. We did away with the underscores. It took us
so much
like
easier to
20
read.
years.
So we'll see you guys in the next video.
Cool.
Let's go eventing. Is that a thing? Do you call it eventing?
We could do eventing. Is it like
new from events? Eventing.
The eventing lifestyle.
The eventers. It'll be like the
the
eventers, but way
eventers.
better because we're all drinking.
But but he's getting drunk enough. I'm going to start like inventing stuff. Like
don't. No, you can't drink.
Eventers
Drinking
or
and
inventing?
Drinking and inventing together equals nothing good is going to come out.
I don't know. I mean, I've invented some unique ways of drinking whiskey. We're going to be quiet.
You're making me nervous.
We're done.
You make me so nervous.
No.